This is The Weekly Set, the official podcast of TVEnthusiast.com. Episode 85, recorded December 1st, 2016. Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Weekly Set, the official podcast of TVEnthusiast.com. I am your host and the editor-in-chief of TV Enthusiast. My name is Tyson, and I'm joined today, as always, by our keeper of comics here, Will.
Hello.
So today we are going to talk about Westworld, Black Mirror, and the winter preview. So if you check out our main page, TVEnthusiast.com, you'll see we have a winter preview article where we go over the kind of shows that the big shows coming in the months of December, January, and February. So we're going to go over some of those shows, the ones that we're kind of looking forward to or find interesting in some way or another. But before that, let's kick things off with Westworld. So we're going to be talking today about the penultimate episode of Season 1. Season 1, Episode 9, The Well-Tempered Clavier.
Yep.
So let's go right into that. I have it first here on my notes that about Maeve's story. So I figure let's go through Maeve's story first, which is interesting that she had this little confrontation with Bernard, and Bernard was checking her out, and she somehow was able to know that he was a host, like she was, and with her like new little host controlling powers, was able to kind of stop his motor functions and just have a little conversation with them. Right.
Which she used Bernard to get back out into the field. Which, that was plot, basically. I didn't find that particular interaction to be interesting. It set Bernard loose, though, to go after Ford. It did, because she told him to find the whole truth, to find the truth and to get all of it.
And we'll go into that later. We'll finish Maeve's storyline first, but there is more to go on with Bernard, with what she set up there. She gets back into the field, and she meets up with Hector and basically convinces him that she's a wizard by predicting everything that's going to happen. She just kind of like reveals to him that his life is bullshit.
Yeah,
and then they fuck in a burning tent.
Because why not? Because sure, I guess.
Because it's HBO.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's HBO. It's not porn. It's HBO.
So Maeve's building her army, starting with Hector. That's who she says by her army. I kind of thought that they were going to do something like she was going to go loose in the building again and maybe like activate all of those deactivated hosts.
Maybe she's
creepy ass room.
Maybe she still will, but it wasn't this episode.
I thought that's what she was going to do. Like that maybe she like intentionally kind of let herself get captured knowing that she could go in and get that. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking.
It did seem like that was intentional because she had Bernard set her free like right after without doing anything while she was in there. So yeah, it didn't seem like getting captured was that intentional.
Yeah, it just happened to be that they were able to notice something was off with her, get her up there, and then she was able to take advantage of the fact that Bernard is a host to get herself out of that situation.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's move on. We were talking about Bernard. Let's go back to that.
Yeah. Bernard, this was the meat and potatoes of the episode, really.
Yeah.
With Bernard seeking answers to, like just the deep answers, like who is he? Was he created by, he was created by Ford? Was he created by Ford or was he created by Arnold? The question of Arnold really concerns Bernard more than anything. Mm-hmm. Bernard's main concern is he wants to know who Arnold is, what influence Arnold had over him, so that's really what he's trying to figure out in this episode.
So he has Ford kind of take him back through his memories. He has a kind of cool, kind of weird scene where he's like reliving the moment where his son died, or where he thought his son died.
Yeah.
And I liked it when he just said, "Come back," and had like the son just suddenly like came back to life,
Yep.
And because it wasn't real, it was all just like this.
Yeah, it's all just it was a story Ford came up with to give Bernard character, just like he does with all the hosts.
The reveal we got at the end of all of it was that Bernard is in fact based on Arnold.
Yeah, Bernard, it was made in the image of Arnold after apparently, and this is implied more than spoken, but apparently after Ford murdered Arnold.
We don't know exactly what happened with that because another character admits to killing Bernard.
That's true. Another character does admit to killing Bernard, so I'm not sure. It seemed to be implied though.
Yeah, I mean, it could have orchestrated it. There was a lot in this episode that had to do with the orchestration of events, because there was another scene in which the Man in Black, who'd been captured, and one of the hosts, the one that had welcomed William at the very beginning, and then was holding him captive there, set some kind of trap for him where she tied like a noose around his neck, put it around a tree, and then attached it to his horse, basically setting it up so that he could potentially cause his own death or something. So we don't know if that was like a way of getting around that the host can't kill the people, I guess.
I wouldn't say that's a way around the host can't kill the people thing. I don't think hosts are even supposed to set traps that would put people in mortal danger. So I don't know how she was able to do that or what the rules concerning that.
She's just sentient, she's actually has some level of sentience.
Universe breaking or what? Ford manages to cut himself down from the trap.
Not Ford, the Man in Black.
The Man in Black manages to cut himself down from the trap. He doesn't seem particularly surprised by the situation though, which is funny. Yeah. Funny because
he is when the rope's being pulled, but not after.
Not after. He seems unfazed by it. Like a host just put him in mortal danger, and it just he plays it off like it's normal.
And he gets visited by Charlotte, who is the rep for the board at Delos.
Yeah.
Just in like regular future clothes, just
just a regular, just in heels,
Yeah.
Wandering out there in like the freaking desert, rocky, sandy desert in high heels.
Sure. She wants the Man in Black's permission, or not permission. She wants the Man in Black's vote so that they can unanimously take down.
It turns
out
he's a member of the board.
Yes, he's a member of the board at Delos, and she knows that he is enamored with the park, but she wants to take out Ford, and so she wants his approval on that. And he's like, I don't give a shit if you go after Ford. He's like, he's not the one that writes the narratives I'm interested in.
Yeah, basically, yeah. She wants it to be unanimous. He doesn't give a shit, and he says Ford's narratives aren't the ones I'm interested in. I'm interested in Arnold's narratives.
And then he basically tells her to get the fuck out because he doesn't want interruptions.
Yeah, pretty much. He says, he wants to continue on his quest, and he doesn't want to be bothered by anybody along the way.
I'm gonna go back here to William. So last we saw William, he was being held, or he'd just been captured by
by his friend there.
Yeah, Logan. Yeah. So William and Dolores got caught by Logan. It's funny that Logan's not really upset about being abandoned. Actually, he kind of likes it. He likes that William kind of broke bad, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah.
And so he totally digs that. So he's okay with that. But he wants William to kind of like wake up to the reality that these are just like robots and that Dolores isn't anything special. In doing that, Dolores ends up cutting him, injuring him in a way that the host shouldn't be able to, which basically he says, "You're not special, you're broken." But that was all during the course after he had like cut her open, which the cool reveal of that was that it was cutting her open to show William that, she's not human, but she doesn't have like a modern host body. It's the mechanical type, the old type, which is again basically confirming the timeline stuff, that this takes place before the current timeline. timeline because the hosts in this are like mechanical.
Right. Yeah. It's confirmed it's in the past timeline. This is kind of like where like all this timeline stuff gets a little silly. Watching Dolores's part in this episode was so confusing and just awful to watch because like they kept shifting timelines back and forth and it was just confusing. It was not. I
kind of liked it. I think it worked.
I had trouble like following those scenes. Like literally, I was just not down with that. I was like, I hope next season we get like a more linear storyline because I don't know like the having the two timelines, but like being vague about it or something like there even being two timelines really helps this show. I don't think it's doing the show any favors really.
I kind of like it, and I liked her role in it as this kind of segue between these two timelines because
now people are talking.
It isn't just a matter of showing these two different timelines because part of it is she's remembering.
Back up. You're saying two different timelines, but people have noticed like there could be based on the Dolores' scenes, there could be three timelines because of what Dolores is wearing in any given like scene.
Well, there seems to be like two primary timelines, two like ones that get a lot of focus, and then there's occasionally like these little mini flashbacks that Dolores has relating to kind of whatever this event is that happened in this town that's got buried in the sand.
Right.
Which we don't know if it's just a pure storyline that's integrated in there and isn't even actually something that happened. We don't really know what that is yet, but I'm talking about the two storylines being the one with William and Logan and Dolores, and then the other one where we see like the Man in Black and Ford walking into the game.
Here's what confused me. When we see Dolores with William and Logan, she's wearing the pants and the shirt and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And her belly is cut. Then we flash back to the past with Ford and the way the Westworld, I guess the way it looked in the past, and she's wearing the dress,
That's because that's what I liked about it. I actually like that
and I'm like,
play because she's having trouble distinguishing times.
Right.
She's basically remembering things, but those things that she's remembering, it's as if she's experiencing them actually happening. And so when you see her with the different, actually wearing the dress without the pants and stuff, that's the present timeline, or I guess like the more towards the future timeline. I don't know.
Well, it's towards the future, but yeah, but then we see like, we see young Ford,
that was when she was going through that hallway, that was all vision, I think.
You think that was all a vision?
Yeah, none of that was like her actually walking through there.
And that's why I did, because it was all so confusing and it all happened so fast and it keeps jumping back and forth. And I think I just came away from that sequence like vastly confused by what I was just desperately, constantly trying to keep up and trying to make sense with it second after second, and it's exhausting. And I just was not a fan of that part of the episode because it's like, okay, this is a chore trying to follow this now.
I like that. I like when shows get confusing and heady like that. I like it in Mr. Robot when like in the second season when shit was going on and we're like, we don't even know if this is in his head, if this person's real, if this person was ever real, or if they were real but they died and now they're a delusion. Like that kind of stuff where you're just kind of like, you don't really know because it's an unreliable narrator. It's the same way, although Dolores doesn't directly narrate in the way Elliot does, where he's literally narrating. Dolores is an unreliable narrator.
Right.
So when we see Dolores in the story, we don't know what is programmed, what is information that's been put together in her programming somehow that's come together, which is what I think it was when she saw the young Ford. I don't think she was necessarily actually there. It was just like a combination of, stuff going on there that she was able to kind of piece together. And then what's happening in what timeline, because there seems to be like two major timelines that she's taking place in, and then we also see something that seems to be from before that, either. there. But yeah, I kind of like that. I could understand where that would get, confusing and hard for other people, because it's still confusing for me, but I kind of like that. I like the puzzle element of it.
Right, right.
I think I think pretty much all of this is going to be answered next week.
It's going to be all answered next week, but it's going to be like answers you've already figured out.
I don't mind that so much, because I like exploring the puzzle, like I think that the fact that we figured out all these answers, it's not because it's cliche or anything, it's because it was very well foreshadowed, so you're able to figure it out. And I'm fine with like being able to figure something out as long as it works like that, as long as it, seeing it play out as part of the puzzle.
Right.
It's kind of like when you're literally solving a puzzle. When you get to those last steps and stuff of the puzzle, you already know how it's going to end, but you still have to make those final twists.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the next episode. I really am. I really hope that a lot what we're thinking is answered.
I think it will be.
Yeah,
but back to William at camp. So Dolores gets away. William tells her to run, that he'll find her. Then William and Logan seem to finally make up, and Logan gets drunk.
Then William goes batshit crazy, kills all the hosts in the camp, and apparently that's his
look on his face.
Apparently that's his transformation into the Man in Black.
That seems to be directly what it's implying. Yeah.
Which seems a little sudden. I guess it took Dolores getting roughed up for him to like completely snap, I guess, which means that in reality that didn't really take much.
I think it had been building for a while, because there were other scenes, like when he killed one of the hosts and Logan was all like, oh, you finally did it and stuff. Like that was like a first step. And then when he finally, had sex with Dolores, even though he had decided that he was gonna go back to his wife and he couldn't do that, and then he like came back and immediately reversed that. I think so. Like he's been taking these steps towards this direction for a while.
Did you notice that the picture Logan shows William of his fiance is the same picture Dolores' dad finds?
Yes,
early
I
in the season?
was just gonna bring that up. That's a huge thing, because that's basically the picture that drove Dolores' dad insane.
Yep. So I mean that's solid. This is I mean it's not even like being hinted at anymore. It's pretty much confirmed without them coming out and saying, yes, this is two timelines.
It's confirmed without being confirmed.
It's confirmed without being confirmed.
It's confirmed without the press release, basically.
And especially like the end of the episode where we see Dolores in the church. The whole sequence with Dolores, it's switching between timelines, but it ends, and this is how the episode ends. It ends on present day Dolores, so we know it's present day because she has the outfit she was wearing when she was with William and Logan, but her chest isn't cut open, her stomach isn't cut open like it was, and she's in a church, and the door's open behind her, and she turns around and it's the Man in Black.
Which I think is like almost the direct implication. Of course, they've been implying since like episode 2 that the Man in Black and William are the same person. But I think the direct one there is that you had the scene where William said, don't worry, I'll find you. And then when he shows up there, the way it was kind of put together from like when that happened, it's almost like, well, here I am.
Yep, it's almost like, well, here I am. The implication is that the Man in Black is William. Yeah. And I thought maybe they were gonna confirm it in that scene. Like I thought maybe they were gonna have Dolores call him William or something as she saw him enter, but she looks fearful. She doesn't say his name or even give an indication that she knows him, or even give any indication she knows him outside of that time he dragged her to the barn and raped her.
Well, she wouldn't, because she knows him as like two different people.
Right.
She knows the young him as William and the old him as this monster.
Right.
So she turns and sees him, and she doesn't see William. She sees the Man in Black. as the audience, we're seeing that these are the same person, but she's not seen that yet.
But again, it creates a situation where there's no direct confirmation from the show. It's all still implied.
Yeah, that's coming next episode, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure, definitely.
I'm sure that's going to be like maybe the first scene. Like it'll open up with her and him, and they'll just quickly nip that, you know?
Yeah, they'll quickly nip that. Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm trying to think what else we got here. Another interesting little storyline. Stubbs, who's kind of like the head of the security, he goes to investigate. They get like a quadrant thing about where Elsie is, which isn't where she was before. So something's happened there. Something's moved her or whatever. And Stubbs gets sent out to find her. He goes out there. He encounters the Ghost Nation army, the Native Americans, and they're not stopping.
Yeah, they're not stopping. He cannot control them for whatever reason.
So this is like, it just kind of has that chess feeling of like the pieces have kind of been lining up and now they're all in play, and now we get to see what Ford's plan is, because this is clearly like it always been debated, is this Arnold or is this Ford, you know?
I think it's clearly Ford.
Exactly.
Okay,
because
so here's
the town got dug up, the church got dug up, all that stuff would be buried under sand if it wasn't for...
Here's the thing, and then there's the reveries.
Yeah.
Now the thing is, when the reveries were first introduced, or in like the very first episode, it's kind of played off as like, oh, this is a seemingly harmless update that is going to lead the machines to rebellion, and it's played off as like, maybe, you know, it's played off as being an accident,
like a bug. Yeah,
like a bug, like an accident, and you could buy that at the beginning because you don't know that much about Ford or the other characters, so you can buy that maybe he introduced a bug that had unintended consequences, right? Because that's kind of like what happens in most sci-fi shows of this nature. So you could think that, but then as you get to know Ford, especially in the last two episodes, you begin to realize there's no way he could introduce a bug into these machines that has effects that he did not specifically intend. Mm-hmm. You know, the reveries leading the machines to become more self-aware has to be purposefully done by Ford for his own ends, for his own narrative, his mysterious narrative that we still don't know that much about. You know, he digs up the church. He keeps talking about this new narrative he's building. He introduces these reveries to the machines. You know, none of this is accidental. I don't even think Maeve going off the reservation. I think even that might be part of Ford's plan.
I could see that being something else, just because I could see them doing a turn. I don't think Anthony Hopkins' character is going to survive this season.
I don't think so either, but
I think that he has this masterful plan, and I think there's going to be something he didn't intend, he wasn't counting on.
I don't know.
This moment where you find out, oh, there's this thing in his plan that wasn't accounted for, and I think that's going to be Maeve.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I think Maeve is on purpose. I think that's part of what Ford's up to. Ford obviously keeping the cards close to his chest. Ford might even, the big twist at the end might be that maybe Ford was the one who wanted to have fully autonomous machines, and Arnold wanted to rein that in. It's being played off right now like the other way around, that Arnold was the one who wanted full consciousness in Ford, but maybe it's actually the other way around. Maybe Arnold tried to stop Ford. Ford had Arnold killed. He created Bernard in Arnold's image and continued his work, and we learned that through it all, Arnold wasn't the mad scientist, Ford was.
I think whatever it is, even though we already know there's going to be a second season of Westworld, I think we're going to learn. I think the big mystery that's going on throughout this season is going to be solved in the next episode.
I think so, yeah.
And then it's going to basically set up that the next season we're going to start getting more into Delos and some other stuff like that. But that is Westworld. So we'll be talking about the season finale next week, so you can see how our theories match up to what's happening. All right, so we're going to go into Black Black Mirror now. So this is the season finale of season 3 called Hated in the Nation. It was a extra long episode, about an hour and a half. The description reads, in the near future, a police detective in London works with a tech-savvy sidekick to investigate mysterious deaths linked to social media. So just kind of in general, what are your thoughts off the bat of this episode?
That was garbage.
This one?
No, there were things to like. The acting was on point. The acting was some of the best in the series. It started off interesting enough. It had a really strong start, and then you go so fast from like the killing to Sci-Fi Channel original movie.
See, I felt that this whole episode, until like the very end, until like the last twist, felt like something from any police procedural that's like modern, you know? Like, I could have seen this as like an episode of Bones, you know, where they all got together and they're like, you mean they're being killed by the drone beast, you know?
Oh my god, that is not a flattering comparison. And yeah, actually it did remind me of an episode of Bones, specifically the episodes involving a magical hacker who can hack anything through magic because it's magic. We don't have to explain shit. It's like, really?
It did have that procedural mojo to it, even down to the music. Like, there were moments when they played that like kind of like
right,
you know, like kind of police procedural like music type stuff that you expect.
And the real problem with the episode is like it would be fine if like they played it like tongue in cheek or something, but they played it completely straight, and it's like it's like every moment they're breaking my suspension of disbelief. Like I like how it starts off fine enough. There is a murder. It is linked to social media. This woman wrote a nasty article, and the mystery of how she died, who could be behind it, because literally everybody hated her. So you have like a giant suspect pool right there. I was into it. I was like, yes, this is great. So far, this is really hitting it. I thought really strong on the theme of social media. You know, I knew that was going to be the theme. I thought that was really strong way to play it. So I'm watching it. I'm like, this is great. This is great. And then there's like some aside about robot bees, and I'm just like thinking, that's weird. Okay, but whatever. I was like, robot, that's weird, but okay, whatever. This is aside from that weird thing, this is good. Hopefully that never comes back again.
I honestly, like, I was kind of digging the tone of the episode up to the point in which the first murder happened, and then it started getting that police procedural feeling to it, and I was like,
it starts getting like a police procedural feeling, yeah, but like a really like a high quality police procedural, like maybe something on cable versus something on like a network television show, you know.
But so, it's still like felt like un-Black Mirror, you know.
And besides, like the actual like murder and death itself was like interesting. The mystery to it, the way they presented it, I was like really like I was actually into it. I wanted to know. I wanted to know how she was murdered, who was behind it. Again, they presented it as like she was really hated on social media. She wrote this awful article. So it literally could have been anybody. So I thought that's cool. And then it turns out to be robot bees, and then it just gets stupider from there, because then it's like, okay, a robot bee killed her. And so you're like, okay, but wait, why, somebody's controlling bees now? It's like, is this the bug lady from that episode of The Flash? But no, but like
at that point it started feeling like it's an episodic police procedural episode of Fringe.
Yeah, it's like suddenly it's Fringe.
It went from Bones to Fringe.
And I'm like, okay, well that's disappointing, but let's see where they go with this, I guess. Like, I'm still willing to give it a chance, even if people are getting killed by bees. But it just keeps getting sillier and sillier, because then we find out it's like this madman. He's got this insane game where he has people vote for who they hate the most any given day, and then he goes and kills them. It's totally arbitrary.
I did kind of like that part. I did like the hashtag.
I did kind of like the hashtag part. It was good. Yeah, the hashtag part, that was good commentary. That was good. But like I said, it just keeps getting sillier and sillier because then they go to the place, when they find out it's the robot bees, they go to the place that invented the bees, that controls the hives and stuff. And he's literally talking about, like, well, it's impossible for them to get control. You know, he's saying, oh, it's literally impossible for them to get control of even one bee. And she's like, okay, what about the hive? And he's like, no, that would be impossible because military encryption, blah, 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 tech stuff.
Well, see, here's where it's like a weird thing, because I think in that area, in this kind of, that storyline part of the episode, it was like poorly executed, the way they kind of did the reveals on it. But I actually like the payoff to that, which is that the reason it was hackable was because the government put a backdoor in it. And that ties to stuff that's going on right now.
Yeah.
There's a debate about encryption right now going on that's very similar to that. The idea that the government wants to have forced backdoors into anything that's encrypted so that they can get into it. But by doing that, you expose vulnerabilities to hackers. And I follow a lot of like tech news and podcasting, so they've been over this stuff like endless.
I felt like there was like this ham-fisted commentary on government surveillance, like pushed in, but even with like backdoors and stuff, like one hacker could literally not do what this guy was doing in this episode of Black Mirror.
Well, if you consider the technology that was
unless the people running the tech were just that incredibly stupid that they were like, I mean, you would have to believe the people creating this, like if the government was gonna help fund this massive colony of robot bees for spying on people or what the fuck ever, like okay, like imagine they'll do that. Okay, that's already like you're already taking a huge leap of faith imagining that. Like, okay, so we're funding robot bees. That's a thing to begin to even begin with. Okay, fine. But we're just gonna be so stupid and incompetent and lazy that one man could get into that system and compromise every single last one of those bees and use them to murder people.
That's where the failure of the execution is, because I think what made it not work was the way that the tech guy at the company was like, oh no, this can't happen, you know?
Yeah.
The fact that he was like that, but that he did know about the back door, because when that came up later, he knew about it.
He knew about the back door.
Then that means he should have known that this could have happened.
He should have. Yeah.
And I think that's the unrealistic part. But I mean, the idea that the government would co-opt this plan and say, hey, you want funding, then we'll give funding and we'll do that. That's like stuff like that's really happening right now.
Oh my God. When they were trying to save the one girl and they had her in that house and this whole like swarm of robot bees was descending upon it, I just couldn't stop laughing. It literally looked like a scene out of, I'm just waiting for the sequel, Robot Bees versus Sharknado.
It was unnecessarily over the top.
It was, and again, what hurts the episode for that is because you have that over the top, over dramatic scene ripped straight from a Sci-Fi Channel original movie about God knows what, but it's played so straight. The acting it's pitch perfect. The characterizations are the characters are realistically written to a degree. I felt like the acting was great and it was played just so straight the entire time that it really seemed like a mishmash of tones and genres right there. So it didn't quite gel.
I agree with some of that. Like I agree that in execution this ended up coming across, like I said, the first thing I thought of when I was watching this is like, God, it feels like a police procedural episode. It doesn't feel like Black Mirror. It feels like just a police procedural episode. And definitely like when they had all the bugs attacking, it was over the top. There was some good in there though too. Like I like that it wasn't a bunch of bugs attacking the woman that finally did it, but it was like this brief moment in which they're trying to kind of cover her and you just see one of the bees just slips right up her nose.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's it. It's over. You know, like that kind of like moment. I liked that. I liked how quick that was. It wasn't like, oh no, they're all around me. It was like, nope, that one, that's all it took was that one to slip in. And I think that could have been conveyed better if it wasn't a huge swarm of beasts.
They made it clear the whole time it only takes one to do the job.
I think it would have been interesting if they had maybe more than one, like maybe they had a few and they were so distracted by this other one or whatever that they were trying to prevent entry that this one that they didn't even notice slipped in. I think that would have been like a more interesting way to handle that. But it was just kind of the execution was off. But here's the one thing I want to talk about the episode, which is that the point in which it started to actually feel like a Black Mirror episode to me. Because up to this point it didn't. None of this felt like a Black Mirror episode up until the point in which it's revealed that he's not going after these targets necessarily, that he's collecting the data on everybody who's using this hashtag.
And that was the final thing for that was like, okay, this is exceedingly silly. Let's just go all the way at the end. That was the big twist. But I thought, well, that's a little ridiculous. But
that was the most Black Mirror part of the whole episode.
Because
that's where it went like straight dreary, like it went from being kind of this weird police show to something that was just very dreary, in which like thousands of people are now dead because of this. And I think that they were able to hammer it home with the fact that they showed the one woman that was suspected in the first woman's murder initially, that had sent the cake, and they had found her. By the way, what's it with cake deliveries on Black Mirror this season?
Yeah, I know, exactly. I expected it to be like, I think it was even like the same cake company as the other Shut Up and Dance.
But anyways, it's funny because it's the woman that had sent the cake to her. She had a reason to hate this woman. She worked with like disabled children, had this whole thing. And so when they cut back to like, okay, everybody who's used this Death2 hashtag is going to be targeted. And you go like, oh, okay, it's all these assholes that,
No, it's not.
Superficially throw that. And then they cut to her. And that's kind of the part where it gets like really sad because you're like, oh, you find she was specifically introduced and focused on just for that payoff at the end. Mm-hmm.
And
that's where it feels like a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah.
I think that I agree with you. This was one of the weaker episodes. I don't know. It sounds like to me that this is like your least favorite of the season.
It really was. It really was. I didn't want to hate it. I went into it because I wanted to love it. Okay. I want to go into it and say, I want to be able to get on this podcast and go, that was awesome. What a finale. Okay. I couldn't. Being honest with myself, I couldn't be like that because it was such a silly episode. Like the whole conceit was silly. I think the main issue was I didn't know what it was going to be going into it. Like when you go and you watch Sharknado, you're not complaining about it being silly because A, it's cheesy, and B, it's freaking Sharknado before you turn it on. What are you expecting? If this episode was called Attack of the Robot Bees, I would have known right away what it was, and I probably would be less harsh on it right now because you'd be going, duh, the episode was called Attack of the Robot Bees, what do you expect? And I'd be like, yeah, I guess. And but it wasn't presented like that. It was presented as a straight police procedural episode and with surprise robot bees in the middle of it. And it just pulled me completely out of the episode when that happened.
See, for me, it was just the police procedural part was the biggest turnoff. Like when it became like a police procedural, I was like, oh, I want to watch Black Mirror. I don't want to watch, like this could have been any police show. Like it didn't, didn't have to be Black Mirror.
The first part had me interested because I know it was playing like a police procedural, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, this is Black Mirror, so there's going to be a twist. There's going to be like a very Black Mirror twist. And so I'm trying to think of what that twist is going to be. I never thought it was going to be robot bees. I thought it was going to be something much more interesting. I was hoping for something much more interesting. So I wasn't expecting it to be a straight, police. So so when that lady dies and the mystery of her death comes into play, I'm interested because I know there's some twist concerning it, and I'm sitting here wondering what the twist is, what the Black Mirror twist to this is going to be, and then it turns out to be something completely silly, and I'm just like, I was let down by that. I was let down by what it turned out to be, because I was expecting something much, much more clever, I think, than what we actually got.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I agree that the payoff wasn't as good. I did like the hashtag, the way that played into it. I did like the kind of twist where, like, thousands of people die, because I like the dreariness of it, because that's Black Mirror, you know? It's oh, you know, like, you thought it was this one thing, and then it turns brutally. So I liked that aspect. I do agree that it was kind of unbelievable the way it happened. But all of that being said, I remember watching season 2 of Black Mirror, and this was like 4 years ago, I think, that season 2 came out. And the episode where a cartoon character became the president, or like the prime minister of Britain, and thinking like, this is just stupid. And now this is our reality. So
yeah,
in several cases, Charlie Brooker, the creator of Black Mirror, has been rather prescient with Black Mirror.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is, Attack of the Robotic Bees is coming in a couple years.
Yeah, pretty much. If he's prescient about that, yeah, Donald Trump's robot bees will kill us all. Charlie Brooker has predicted this.
Yeah, because Charlie Brooker basically predicted Donald Trump, and he predicted something else too. And like the very first episode of Black Mirror, this scandal ended up coming out. It wasn't really predicting; it just happened to be this scandal came out about some rumor about the Prime Minister of England.
Well, was that prescient? I thought that episode was made as a response to that scandal.
No, that episode came before that scandal.
So wait, so he made an episode about the Prime Minister fucking a pig, and then the Prime Minister actually fucked the pig.
Yeah.
Holy shit! And he did not know about that beforehand.
Reportedly did it before.
Reportedly did it before, but it came out that.
Yeah, but it didn't come out until after.
Until after the Black Mirror. That's insane.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, you know, we think that killer robot bees is ridiculous, but, you know, let's see what we think in 2019.
Yeah, let's see what when killer robot bees have killed us all. Then I'll go back and I'll say, Charlie Brooker, you're fucking genius. I should have been more aware instead of laughing, and now I got all these robot bee stings.
I just want to note also some of the actors in this episode. People who watch Boardwalk Empire noticed that Karen, kind of the non-techie detective, was Kelly MacDonald. She was in Boardwalk Empire. She was also in Trainspotting. The one who played the techie detective, Blue, that was the Waif from Game of Thrones, the one that was like attacking Arya.
Oh my god. I didn't even realize that. She does not look like the Waif in this episode.
Because she looks a lot older. Like, she looked like a kid in Game of Thrones.
She did. That's the same actress. That's incredible.
The guy who plays the government agent that joins them, Sean, that's Benedict Wong. He's been in a lot of stuff recently, including Doctor Strange, where he played Wong.
That's where I seen him, because as soon as he showed up, I saw him. I said, I know this guy. He was in stuff. I don't know what stuff, but I know him.
He was in Netflix's like Marco Polo, I think, and then after that, like all of a sudden he started blowing up like everywhere. Because he was pretty much like, everybody was critically dissing Marco Polo except for Benedict Wong. Like, they were like, but Benedict Wong's great in it, you know? And all of a sudden he started getting all these great roles, you know, like he got Doctor Strange. So
that's what he was from. I couldn't place him, but I kept going, I know this guy. I didn't recognize literally anybody else in that episode. I didn't recognize for crap, but as as soon as he walked on, I know him. To put a bow on Black Mirror, what was your favorite episode? And what was maybe your least favorite episode?
My least favorite episode was the the military episode. I just thought that was so sloppy.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. I don't know if it was as bad as Killer Bees, but it was still pretty bad.
I just thought that was really sloppy. My favorite was still Shut Up and Dance.
I agree. Well, I don't agree, but I came to when you told me, like, when you made me aware of what was actually going on, I did come to a deeper appreciation than from the first watch, because now it makes sense, because that scene at the beginning of the episode where he's handing that little girl her toy, he's looking at you think you oh, he's such a nice guy. No, that wasn't to paint him as a nice guy. That scene was actually to paint him as the monster he really is, because that was actually him being a monster. It wasn't him being nice. But it's interesting when you're not in that frame of mind, how you perceive that interaction. It's kind of brilliant, because that interaction is perceived one way, and then when you learn and you go back and you look and you realize the reality of that interaction, and it's a great way how I think it's an excellent example how, like, that show kind of used perception to kind of fool you. That was pretty cool, actually. I have a deeper appreciation for that episode.
That episode haunted me. Like, after I finished it, that one I felt really, like, dirty and uncomfortable for, like, hours after.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
And I think that, to me, is like, that's one of the hallmarks of a good Black Mirror episode.
Yeah.
Like, I felt the same thing after the Christmas special episode, White Christmas. I felt a little bit of that, less so with my favorite Black Mirror episode, which was the episode 2 of the first season, the one about the microtransactions and the reality show.
Yeah, the micro. Yeah.
But I felt that a little bit there too, and some of the other ones. I think that when Black Mirror is at its best, it's haunting. It's like you get that, like, moment where you're just like, oh god, like, and it just hits you hard, and I think that's what I really liked about that. I also really liked what I'm guessing is your favorite episode,
San Junipero.
Yeah, San Junipero, because that, but the ending to that and the kind of the way it ended was very un-Black Mirror.
It had a more hopeful ending, which I liked. I guess I like happy endings more, because I'm more of an optimist at heart.
I still like that episode a lot. It's my second favorite of the season.
I still love it because I love it because of its ruminations on just like it's a rumination on death and the afterlife, and the central question being, can mankind conquer death? Is that through technology? Can you conquer death through technology? The way that's set up, and to me, it's like it's something I think about often. It's like, if a real afterlife doesn't exist, can we create a synthetic afterlife for ourselves?
But then that brings up a whole other question.
Yeah.
Is if you're uploaded into the afterlife, is that just a copy of you? And you die, is it just everything just go to blackness anyways? You don't suddenly go to that place because that's just a copy of you that's in that place.
Right. Are you uploading a copy of your consciousness, or are you uploading your actual consciousness to the cloud? Is that so that's like the old
that's the old, like, Star Trek debate about
that's the old Star Trek. We don't understand consciousness enough to even begin to go there. Yeah. But that's what makes that great science fiction, though.
Yeah.
It's just I just fell in love with the concept. I was just like, I want to go there. And yeah, it had a really positive ending.
There was a little bit of a haunt at the end with just showing all the computer
just showing
servers.
There was a little haunting at the end, just showing the technology behind it without commentary,
because it was a little demystification, right?
It was a little demystification where everything looked so cold and sterile. So that was interesting, but that was definitely my fave.
So I mean, okay, season of Black Mirror. It's twice as long as the regular season. I think overall, like, if you counting it, if I picked out my favorite 3 episodes of the this season. To compare it to the three of each other one, I'd say this comes in second to season 1.
Oh, nice.
But averaging all the episodes in, I'd say even season 2 beats out season 3.
Oh, okay.
But that's only, because season 3 had twice as many episodes.
Yeah, they're normally 3-episode seasons. This was 6.
Yeah. And we're getting another one. I mean, Black Mirror seasons are usually like a couple years apart. So we're getting another one, next year. So, I think in September. It's in September or fall at some point. And, God, what's her name from Silence of the Lambs is directing an episode. Jodie Foster. Yeah, of the new one. So, that's going to be cool as well. We'll be talking about those, I'm sure, when that happens.
All right. So
let's move on and talk about the winter 2016-2017 preview.
Kind of quickly, briskly roll through these shows.
Yeah, we will. We'll go through quickly. If you want more detail, if you want to watch all the trailers and stuff, just check out the website, TVEnthusiast.com, and you can find our preview there, separated into each month. So we're covering shows between December and February. So I'm going to go chronologically in order here of
chronologically, okay.
So starting December 7th, these are the ones that we decided to talk about. This isn't the whole. We're not going to go over.
Oh, geez, if we had to go over the whole list, well, if we went over the whole list, we'd be here all night, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we're going over a select group of them. So December 7th, Shut Eye. This is a new original series on Hulu. It stars Jeffrey Donovan from Burn Notice, and it's about a fake storefront psychic in Los Angeles who works for the kind of like mafia-esque gypsy.
Yeah, he works for gypsies who
they control the racket, basically.
Who control the racket. It's a very mafia-like family he works for, according to the trailer.
Yeah.
At least. He suffers a head injury and now he has visions, like real visions.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I got from this.
We should say right up front that, like, it sounds like we're talking about this, like, drama or something. It's very comedic.
It's very comedic.
Its presentation and its trailer. So, I mean, there's some serious stuff going on too, but it's like, there's a good sense of humor going on here, which is, I think, what makes this work.
Well, it helps too because Jeffrey Donovan being the star, he was the star of Burn Notice, which was a very comedic take on the spy genre, and Jeffrey Donovan is good at that sort of being this very charismatic comedic lead actor.
Mm-hmm.
And from this trailer, he does it well in this show too. So definitely something interesting on Hulu. Hulu's getting better about their original content, I think.
They're still not up to par with what Netflix is doing. Certainly not Netflix, but also not even up to par with what Amazon's been doing, I don't think either.
Oh, really?
But they're getting there. They're like slowly, they're kind of taking their own direction, like I'd say as far as the digital streamers, Netflix is way at the top.
Oh yeah, Netflix.
Amazon's kind of like at a distant second, and Hulu is kind of like riding up on Amazon's coattails. Like they're catching up to them.
Yeah, they're catching up to them.
But yeah, this looks really good. I want to watch this. It looks like I think it's that comedic element. If it didn't have that, this wouldn't be interesting.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's the comedic element that puts this over the top.
Next up, we're going to talk about December 23rd, which is when Troll Hunters hits Netflix. This is a DreamWorks CG animated TV show, like not a movie, but it's pretty much at like movie quality.
Yeah, it looks movie quality. It's a TV show. It's for kids. It's designed for kids, but
it's Guillermo del Toro's involved.
Guillermo del Toro's involved. This looks very fun.
It looks like a good adventure.
I am struck again. It's Guillermo del Toro, and you can tell just by how creative it is.
Mm-hmm.
In watching the trailer, it's one of those things you think, oh my god, this is such a great idea. Or at least I thought, for a kid's show, it's bursting with creativity. The monsters
it's that adventure, I think, is what really
and it's
does
that
it for me.
adventure. Yeah, the adventure does it for me too. I mean, I just love this. If I was 8 years old, I would completely eat this up. Hell, I'll probably eat it up anyway because It just looks so fun, so creative.
This is probably the next Netflix original that I'm watching watching on my own. So I'm probably gonna, when this comes out, I'm gonna be binging it and just to enjoy that binging on an adventure. And it's the same way. I mean, even though it's like kind of for kids, like it's the same way, you know, like Harry Potter is kind of for kids.
Yeah, it's the same way here. So it's interesting because this is ostensibly part of Netflix's children's programming, and you know, we usually ignore that stuff on TV Enthusiast because we're not kids. You know, a lot of that programming is dopey, extremely dopey. But this looks like it definitely looks like it's been designed for anybody of any age to sit down and enjoy it, not just children. It's the kind of thing like if you have family, if you have kids, you could probably watch it with your kids and enjoy it just as much as they are enjoying it, which is the hallmark, I think, of just great animation in general. And again, like you point out, Tyson, this looks movie quality. This doesn't look like cheap, like Nickelodeon animation.
Yeah, this isn't like Reboot. This is like seriously like something you could have imagined maybe a couple of years ago hitting theaters from DreamWorks.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So Netflix must have poured a decent amount. DreamWorks and Netflix must have poured a decent amount of money into producing this to get the animation level to be that high. Instead of, you know, they could have cheaped out and settled for cheaper animation. Certainly they could have gotten away with that, but it's nice that they actually spent the money to make this look great. It's definitely one to watch out for, I think.
So there's some other cool stuff coming out around then, Christmas specials and stuff, but we're not going to focus on that. We're going to talk mostly about like actual series runs rather than just specials. So the next one we're going to be talking about is January 1st, which is the Sherlock Christmas special. The reason why we're making that exception is because it's going into the full season of Sherlock.
It's going into the full season, season 4. Yes, season 4 of Doctor Strange. I can't believe it. 4 seasons. Oh yeah, it's season 4 of Sherlock. I mean, what's there to say? It's Sherlock. It's Benedict Cumberbatch. You know, you love it.
Martin Freeman, yeah.
Martin, you love it. I love it. You know what to expect. We don't really have to expound upon this any further. You're gonna watch it.
We're all Sherlock.
Yeah, we're all Sherlock. Yeah.
So yeah, that's gonna be one to look forward to. Coming January 4th is Man Seeking Woman. This is something we've talked before about on the podcast.
I watched the first season. I loved it. I didn't get a chance to see the second season still.
Second season will probably hit digital right before this comes out.
Oh, good. Awesome.
You'll be able to binge season 2.
Finally be able to binge season 2. Because yeah, I was really enamored with the first season of this. Hopefully if the quality keeps up, if the quality sticks, then this should be another funny season.
There's really no information yet on this season, like what it's going to be like. There's no clips or anything.
I can't.
But it's just such a fun show.
It's hard to, if you never watched it, it's incredibly hard to describe. I can't even begin to describe this. I've attempted to describe this show to people who.
I just always say like it's like the anxieties of dating made physical.
Even that doesn't give you like a clear image of like what to expect from this show. It defies explanation. It's something you have to watch to get and it's also the kind of thing maybe after you watch it you still won't get it and you'll probably think it's incredibly stupid. It's definitely one of those things where it either clicks or it doesn't, and for me it clicked and I got it and I love it. I know for other people it probably won't click and you'll probably be like, this is incredibly retarded, but I don't know. Give it a chance. Give it a chance, people. Okay.
The first season is currently, I think, available on Hulu. Second season, like I said, will probably come out around maybe a couple weeks before season 3 hits. So, January 6th, this is the show you're most looking forward to, Emerald City.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, of course. This is such a brilliant show about a police woman who ends up in Oz, and there's a Game of Thrones style civil war, and, not what? Oh, Oh yeah, no, this is god awful. This is like all the worst fantasy tropes and cliches with like the worst dialogue ever.
At least it looks good.
At least it looks good until you see the lion's rubber sword. I don't know if you saw. Yeah.
There's some good special effects going on and stuff. So
there's some good special effects
money
going
into it.
on. Oh my god.
But they fell back onto the like, well, let's make it about a police officer crap that they do with every show now, like on network TV.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, hey, they did the same thing with Once Upon a Time, they made her like a private detective.
They did, but that actually worked out because Once Upon a Time actually never ended up being a procedural. So thankfully, right? I don't think this is gonna go down the procedural route, but this is gonna go down the route of being like a half-assed Game of Thrones wannabe.
Yeah, it kind of has that feeling a bit. Like, I mean, if you turned off the dialogue and just kind of were glancing at the screen occasionally, you'd be like, man, Alex looks pretty cool. It's when you kind of pay attention and realize that they're taking it way too seriously. They're doing the old, like, let's make it gritty by draining all the color away.
Yeah.
Even though it's Oz.
Yeah, even though it's Oz, but it has to be like gritty and super serious Oz because, it's just poor. It's just very poorly conceived.
But who knows? Prove us wrong, Emerald City.
Yeah, prove us wrong. Maybe the trailer is not a fair representation of the show, and maybe there is some intelligent writing. And good God, the Scarecrow is just some hunky guy crucified with like fucking straw glued to him. Like, really?
They're all gonna be. It's gonna be the lion, the Tin Man. They're all gonna be hunky guys.
Yeah, they're all gonna be like Chippendales dancers that she travels with. It's
the lion's gonna have like a total like permed out mane, like like an '80s Chippendales dancer.
Yeah, like
you'd see like a male exotic dancer on like Married with Children would look like or something.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Oh my God.
So next up on our list, January 10th, is Taboo. The big selling point of this entire series is Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy, yes, this guy is awesome. He did a really good job in this trailer selling himself as a badass. And this trailer did a very good job of selling itself as something like it almost. I know it's not one to one. It almost, a lot of it reminded me of like sort of Victorian Arrow.
It kind of has, which Arrow also kind of had, like a bit of a Count of Monte Cristo kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
Of like the guy that's like sent away and he becomes like a badass and he returns to get his revenge kind of thing, which is Arrow kind of had that as well,
Arrow kind of had that as well, yeah.
So this is about a guy, he returns from Africa, to avenge his father's death. And this was actually created by Tom Hardy and his father.
Oh, neat.
So yeah, it's cool seeing it. I like the setting. I like Tom Hardy in that setting. It kind of reminds me a little bit of seeing him in Peaky Blinders,
Mm-hmm. Definitely, especially, and it's not Tom Hardy it's not Tom Hardy if you're not struggling to understand what he's saying.
What do you mean, Batman? Yeah. So Taboo looks really cool. That's coming to FX. Next up, January 12th. This is a show I don't think you have seen, which is Colony.
Okay, yeah, I don't think I even watched this trailer. I don't know. I kind of skipped over it.
You haven't seen the first season, so
it's the second.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't get it. Okay, yeah.
So Colony, I really liked. It's Carlton Cuse from Lost. It stars Josh Holloway from Lost. And it's basically about an occupation of Los Angeles and presumably the world, but like everything's kind of district off with these big walls that have been placed around it. So nobody really knows what's going on outside of wherever they are.
And
so
nobody
like if you're in Los Angeles, you don't know what's going on in Arizona or,
Nobody knows who's behind the occupation, if it's aliens or something else, right?
It seems to heavily be implying aliens. Like, even, like, as the season goes on, it's leaning more and more heavily towards aliens, but we still haven't seen it. We've seen one, but, like, it's, like, in a full, like suit, like, covering everything, so you have no idea.
Right.
But it seems to be directly implying aliens. It could be something else, we don't really know. But yeah, I think what really sold it to me is the occupation aspect. It really kind of has to feel like if you've ever watched, like, a movie about, you know, maybe East Berlin after World War II or something, when it was, like, under, like, Russian control, and, you know, that kind of brutal occupation aspect of, like, or like, you know, movies about Nazi Germany and the kind of brutal occupation, like the way people will, like, you know, pretend and that, like, they're constantly hiding things and having to barter and, you know, trading in secrets and stuff, and they're so underpowered, you know, like they're so under the thumb of something so much more powerful than that. There's like a brutality to that that's really kind of like, it just adds a lot to the drama of it. So it's a pretty good show. I'd recommend checking it out if you're interested in what I just said about it, and that's going back for its second season.
Nice.
Next up, the next day on January 13th, Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. Have you read the books or seen the movie for this?
Nope, I have no context for this franchise whatsoever.
It was a series of books, and they made it into a movie that starred Jim Carrey.
Yeah, I'm aware of
Count Olaf.
I'm aware of the movie. I never saw it. I remember the trailers.
It's basically about these children. They're orphan. Their parents die, and they get left with this relative of theirs. It's like a distant relation, but the book's kind of written a little comically, and so basically, like, it was in the parents' will that they be left to the closest family relative, and so they basically, the police interpret that as like the geographically closest living relative.
Oh,
so it's like this very distant relation. This Count Olaf, who in this series is played by Neil Patrick Harris, who is hamming it up beautifully.
Yeah.
In the trailer, and it's just this kind of weird comic tragedy. That's like what the series is, and it's an adventure, and it's about these kids, and they're trying to basically survive. They're basically trying to kill them. He basically wants to steal their inheritance from them.
Basically wants to just steal their inheritance and kill them, right? Yeah.
And in his mind, like, they're just ungrateful brats, you know? But he's just like a sociopath, so he has no concept of where he's in the wrong. And it's, you know, it turns out that Count Olaf, and their parents were somehow connected to this, like, secret society, so there's, like, this kind of weird element of that kind of throughout the series. So, yeah, I mean, it looks gorgeous. This is like a really high production value show for Netflix. Another one, where, like, the set designs and stuff look like something you'd see in, like, a Tim Burton movie, you know? Right.
Yeah, it definitely looks like that. It definitely looks completely unreal.
Yeah.
It definitely like looked extremely absurdist. Like, so it's definitely like a comedy.
Yeah, it's like a comedy adventure kind of thing. It's like, there's some drama to it, there's some tragedy to it, but there's also, like, there's a lot of dark comedy to it. And just that this, you know, this Count Olaf is such a ham, you know, for example. He's like, and that's one of the more exciting things about the show. So, and Neil Patrick Harris playing a character like that is awesome. So he's like a perfect pick.
Right.
So I'm really looking forward to that. That's January 13th. January 25th is the second season of a show that, if you listen to this podcast at all, you know that Will and I both love, which is The Magicians.
Yes. Cannot wait. This has me hyped. It looks like we are going all in on fillery this season.
Oh yeah.
Looks great. There's not really much to say. If you haven't seen the first season, especially, there's not much to say without spoiling it, except
just watch it. Yeah.
Just watch it.
It's a good show. I mean, the basic way to sum up the series as a whole is it's a magical school show akin to like a Harry Potter, except it's like about adults. So there's this element of, you know, sex and
it was its primary influence was Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's like Harry Potter with sex and drugs, and it's a very adult Harry Potter.
Yes, so it's a very adult Harry Potter. It was actually it's actually based on a series of books that the author wrote in between the releases of Harry Potter novels, because the author was actually impatient with the release schedule of Harry Potter, so impatient that he decided to write his own Harry Potter, and it turned into that.
Yeah. It's also got like a very like Chronicles of Narnia kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, they very obviously mash up Harry Potter with Chronicles of Narnia into one work of fiction, and it just comes out beautifully.
Yeah, it's great. It is one of the two shows, which we're going to be talking about the other show as well, that really kind of have cemented sci-fi's return to good TV.
It has. Sci-fi has. I went so far as to say that because Sci-Fi has those two shows, and then everything else that I thought this was the beginning of a new sci-fi renaissance on that network, but it's so far like they put out The Expanse. These two shows are excellent, and then everything else they've put out around them or since has been like really lacking.
Well, they kind of seem to have like three types of shows on Sci-Fi right now.
Yeah.
There's shows that are just utter garbage. There's shows that are like that kind of middle ground where it's this is like a fun show to watch, but it's nothing that I'm like hooked on. Right. And then there's The Expanse and The Magicians.
Yeah, then there's like actual good shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like watching this trailer for the second season just like reaffirmed how awesome this show was, and now I'm dying for this to be out.
Yeah,
Thank you, trailer. I forgot, and then I was reminded that this is badass. And I'm like, yep, I'm all in.
Then the next day on January 26th, we get the next Greg Berlanti series. But this one's not in the Arrowverse. This is Riverdale. This is based on Archie comics.
Yeah, this is still based on a comic series. It's a CW Greg Berlanti show based on a famous comic book, but it's not DC.
Yeah, it's Archie comics, and it's kind of like a Twin Peaks-esque idea of it. That's basically like the pitch. Like, this is like the Greg Berlanti pitch. Is like, I'm going to do Archie, but in the vein of Twin Peaks.
Exactly.
And that's basically what Riverdale is.
And that's what Riverdale is. This trailer that we posted on the site doesn't tell you anything. It's like random shots of things. I was like really disappointed because like I clicked on that and I thought I was going to get something substantial, and I just got stuff, and I'm like, okay.
They haven't given much out for this.
That doesn't tell me anything.
Even finding that trailer was hard, and that's like a really low resolution trailer too. It's like it was literally the only thing I could find. Like,
I was like, okay, there's literally nothing to comment on in this trailer, but
there's not a lot going on in the trailer and stuff, but it's a project we've known about for a while.
We've known about the project for a while. We've known like the gist of it. Being Greg Berlanti, I'm expecting this to be very soapy, especially way more so than even Twin Peaks was, which Twin Peaks itself was a parody of soap operas. And so I'm expecting this to be very high, especially since it's on the CW too. It's going to be very high on the teen angst. So if you have the stomach for that, you'll probably like it. We'll have to see how it actually turns out.
They're claiming the Twin Peaks influence. They're wearing that on their sleeves. So I'm just hoping that they go for it and just go really weird.
Yeah, I'm hoping they go really weird too. I'm hoping this surprises people. Who's probably expecting something dopey, but yeah, I hope they really go for it. I hope they really go all David Lynch on this. We'll have to see if they actually do.
So next up, February 1st, The 100. This is the fourth season of The 100. Now, Will, you've only seen the first episode, I think, of The 100, but it's something that you're interested in continuing.
It's something I'm interested in continuing, yeah. When
just a matter of time.
When I find the time, definitely.
So I'm not going to say say too much about kind of what's been happening on the 100, just that the 100 has been a consistently really good show that has improved drastically. Like about halfway through the first season, it started getting really good, and then season 2 just hit the floor running really good. And yeah, it's one of the best shows on the CW, I'd say, and I'm really looking forward to more of it. So
Great.
That's going to be coming on February 1st. February 5th is kind of the return of a series, but it's a spinoff. So 24 Legacy.
24 Legacy. It looks like 24. I don't know. It doesn't have anybody from 24.
It does.
It has, yeah, but he's not in this trailer.
Yeah.
I know who it is, and I was pretty happy about that, but I don't know. I don't know about this. It actually didn't look all too interesting from the trailer.
This was an early trailer though. We're due for another trailer on this soon, I think.
Kind of the fun of 24 was not so much the plot, but actually just watching Jack Bauer being a badass and just wondering like how far Jack Bauer is willing to take it next. Like
the real-time gimmick helped.
Yeah,
too.
the real-time gimmick. Like part of the fun was seeing like how far is Jack Bauer going to go to torture this guy? So, it's like for me that was the fun of it. Casting a new character, I don't know. Maybe it will. Maybe it will be interesting. Maybe it will be good. I wasn't sold from this trailer, but we'll have to see what they do.
Yeah, so we'll see what's going on with 24 when 24 Legacy hits on February 5th. And the last series, which we already mentioned, is on February 8th, The Expanse. This is right up there with The Magicians, is like sci-fi at their best.
Yeah.
Such a good show.
Now, I actually could not watch this trailer. I tried to reload and watch this trailer 3 times. It just froze in the middle of it with the sound continuing from it. So I don't know. But I do know that this is a great show. It was one of our favorites last year when it aired. I'm expecting
right after episode 4, man. That's when it hit the ground running.
That's when it hit the ground running. I'm expecting the same excellence. The beginning of the trailer kind of has like this log line calling it Game of Thrones meets Battlestar Galactica. I think those kinds of comparisons are silly, but I guess that's fairly accurate way to put it.
I think the visual aesthetic is a pretty good match for Battlestar.
Yeah, definitely.
Like storyline wise, it's nothing like it, but like the kind of aesthetic look of the show is very much like a Battlestar Galactica. Game of Thrones, I guess they're just talking about the backstabbing kind of stuff going on.
Backstabbing,
but it's Game of Thrones. It's all like families and stuff, whereas in this, it's like a brewing war between 3 different groups.
Yeah, that's the crux. We're looking for that war to escalate in the second season. It's gonna be good, people.
Yeah, it's exciting. High budget, really well done, really well executed, really well acted, series on Sci-Fi. Looking forward to it. That's it. So thank you everybody for listening to the podcast. You can reach me on Twitter. I'm at Tyson Gifford. You can reach Will at Voxel Hero. You can check out our Facebook page and our YouTube channel, as well as our site, TVEnthusiast.com. You can subscribe to the podcast through any major podcast client like iTunes or Podcast, and the entire backlog of our podcast is available on our YouTube channel, which you can find and get linked to through our website, TVEnthusiast.com. So, thank you everybody for listening. Good night.
Good night.
If you would like to voice your opinion, send an email to theweeklyset@TVEnthusiast.com. TV Enthusiast is a part of the Enthusiast Media Network. Stay tuned to TV Enthusiast and the Weekly Set podcast for more coverage of all of your